If you are looking to set up a successful marketing campaign and asking yourself, where do I start? Or you're looking at an existing campaign and going, where the heck did I go wrong? This video will really help to cover some basics of how to set up a campaign, as well as some marketing, reporting, and adjustments that you can make so that you can build maximum marketing muscle. Hi everyone, this is Cassie over at First Call Digital Agency, and welcome back to our channel. Today we have another episode of our Digital Fit Tips, specifically targeting how to set up a successful marketing campaign. So go ahead and hit like and subscribe and we'll get started. To get started, when you're building a marketing campaign, you want to focus on buyer personas. And this is true with a lot of different marketing avenues. They're such an essential component to successful campaigns. And throughout our time working in the marketing digital agency realm, we have continued to compare marketing to exercise programs because there's remarkably a lot of similarities. And in this analogy, playing true to that, we're going to compare buyer personas to the different training programs that are out there. So we've got CrossFit, powerlifting, strength training, Pilates. There's all these different focuses that you can have when you're building a marketing campaign. And so a lot of the details of how you're going to target people, where they are, the type of equipment you want to use, those are all defined in the buyer personas. As an example, you might have some buyers that require a lot of heavy lifting. These are your powerlifting buyer personas. Or you might have a couple that are tried and true and you're really familiar, and this is going to be more of a stretching day. So building these out and recognizing how they function within your agency is going to be really helpful. When defining buyer personas, it's important to focus on as many details as are relevant to their buying decision. You can get really granular when trying to define demographics and location and all of these things, but it's mostly important to focus on what is actually going to be influencing their decision. So if you're selling a premium service, of course you want to have income level as a factor. If you are a local only service, of course you want to have map or locality as something you want to define within your buyer persona. Details like demographics may seem fairly obvious, but there's a lot of other things to consider that might not be as obvious. So as an example, how they may interact with a sales page. How many resources would they like to read before making a decision? Are they going to rely more on referrals over specs? And are they more looking for outcomes over features? So these are things to factor in when trying to decide how a buyer is going to make their decision to want to work with you. When defining your buyer personas, make sure you are bearing in mind all of these know, like, and trust factors that help them make decisions. And you really want to define those trust elements and make sure they're incorporated into your campaigns, because that is what is ultimately going to help them know they're in the right place. The second thing to consider after you've got your buyer personas lined up is, do you have your branding clear? And if you aren't familiar with building out a brand book, we actually have another video that covers the details of some things you might not have considered about incorporating in your brand book, and you can find that on our channel. So when working to define some branding standards, it's important to remember that, if you want to be able to do your workout right, you have to wear the right clothes. Nobody says you can't work out in jeans, but you're going to be a lot more comfortable if you are wearing gym shorts and tennis shoes to do the workout program. All those trust elements we mentioned before with the buyer persona, you want to have those clearly outlined in your brand book. What we're trying to build is consistency. Just like with any gym program, you cannot see results without consistency. And this means things like button styling across your newsletters and your website, font styling across all of your marketing materials. You want familiarity with your brand, and aside from visuals, making sure that that tone and messaging is really clear and targeting those buyer personas so that it makes sense with the type of program you're going after. Continuing with the gym analogy, we are going to define the third part of building a successful marketing campaign, choosing your platform, as essentially the same thing as choosing the right gym. You know what type of program you're going after, the type of person, and you got all the right clothes, but you need to make sure that that platform's going to have all the right equipment to provide you with the best marketing campaign. Remember, your buyers have preferences. They either love email marketing or they haven't checked their email since 2017. They adore Instagram and hate TikTok. They are dedicated LinkedIn fanatics, or they don't understand why they have 4 profiles out there. So you need to make sure you understand your demographics, you understand your buyer and where they're going to be located. And Aside from that, timing's important. When are you going to do these posts? When are they most likely to read them? What kind of messaging are they looking for? Is it informational, commercial, transactional? You want to clearly get that messaging right as you're crafting these campaigns and targeting these different buyers. With these marketing channels, you have several options, but for simplicity, we're going to focus on the top 4. So email marketing, social media, website copy, and ads. So there's a lot of benefits to each one, such as the ability to do reporting, conversion tracking, and whether or not they're ideal for long-term or short-term campaigns. For example, social media is something that you need to plan out for the long term, as well as website copy updates, whereas paid campaigns and email marketing, you can run shorter targeted campaigns and do clear reporting and A/B adjustment on the fly. Aside from inbound, there's a lot of outbound opportunities such as networking, but we mostly are going to focus on inbound in this video. All right, so you know what program you're doing, you got all the right clothes on, and you know where you're going to get your gym time in, but where do you actually begin? So we don't want to start off with super complex marketing campaigns. This is too heavy of lifting, especially if you're just getting started or if you're noticing that existing campaigns aren't running well. So you want to set smaller campaigns and make frequent adjustments and a lot of reporting in the initial stages so that you can get a lot of data and run some A/B tests and refine. You're always wanting to, in the initial part of a marketing campaign, doing a ton of refinement until you can get a formula in place that you can replicate for the next one. While you're in this refinement stage, it doesn't hurt to work with a third party that might be a specialist in the specific avenue that you are targeting. For example, if you are moderately familiar with Google Ads, but don't have a ton of experience with A/B testing, it doesn't hurt to work with a third party initially to get an idea of how to do refinement on the campaigns. So you're building out your campaign. You've chosen a target audience, gotten your branding really clearly defined, and you are creating messaging, and you have this avenue that you want to go down, and we'll compare it to email marketing. So there's a quality assurance checklist that you can run the campaign through to ensure that you are creating the most successful campaign. With email marketing, you might want to take some time to audit your email list, to ensure you have an unsubscribe button, to A/B test your titles, but most importantly, to set very clear conversion goals. So if you want so many leads to come out of this email campaign, you need to have a way of tracking those, and you need regular reporting set up to make live adjustments until you are starting to see that goal conversion rate edge in the right direction. With initial campaigns, we recommend doing reporting at least once per week for the first several weeks until you have enough data to back up any major decision makings on how you want to pivot your campaign. Remember, initially campaigns can be a lot of work to set up, but as you become more comfortable with them, you will notice that you have built strength and confidence, and your marketing muscles getting stronger. The last component of a successful marketing campaign is reporting and goals. So you've set some targets, you're seeing that you're moving there, you're reflecting on successes. It's so important to have regular reporting set up. As I said before, it's just hard to tell if you're going in the right direction if you don't know which direction that is. There's a ton of avenues for how to do reporting depending on which of those 4 channels we mentioned before you want to track. Site tracking tools, Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, conversion reporting. These are all different things that you can factor into your campaign management to make sure that you and your team know how to make refinements in the future. It's also important to remember to reflect on the quality of the goals that you're setting. As an example, if you are getting more traffic to the site, but that traffic isn't converting, then you need to refine that goal further. On the same note, if you're getting a lot of leads, but they're not good quality leads, you may need to adjust your campaign to be better targeted or change the language so that you have a better educated buyer when they arrive on your conversion page. You know your brand and your audience better than anyone else, but it's really, really important to remember that marketing is a marathon and not a sprint. There is no quick fix that will give you the marketing muscle that will make a really strong brand and lasting company. So you got to have the investment of time into clearly defining your brand, making sure that all of these elements are in place so that you can really see this long-term strength building with your company. Well, we hope we found this video helpful. I'm really curious what kind of sprains, pains, and injuries you've experienced as you've refined your marketing campaigns over the years. Any helpful tools or lessons you've learned along the way, we'd love to hear them. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to watch more videos like this, and we will see you next time.